Hi everyone, good morning and good evening to everyone. To warm welcome to join this Salesforce Einstein Analytics training from svtechsoft. Our trainer is Avinash. He will be take over for today's demo. Okay, if you have any doubts or need clarifications, okay, you can get back to us anytime. Yeah, okay. Avinash, okay, now you can start.
Yeah. So before I start, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, Avinash.
Avinash.
Yeah. Yeah, Vijay, tell me.
I said yes,
Oh,
you are
yes.
audible. Yeah.
And so Kishore, I have sent a request for screen sharing. Just provide me that.
Yes, yeah, please.
Okay. So, yeah, first of all, welcome everyone, whoever is present in the session. I definitely won't take, much. We will definitely jump straight into the topic. But, just to get a brief idea, whoever are present right now, can you just give a very quick introduction? By quick introduction, I mean, like if you have any idea about Salesforce Analytics or Salesforce in general, or, wherever you have experience working in any tool, that's the thing. So yeah, we can start with Vijaya maybe. Hello, Vijaya, are you there?
Hello, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
unable to
Okay.
unmute. Sorry for that.
No issues. Yeah, please go ahead.
Am I audible? Is my
Yeah,
voice clear?
yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, Avinash, and hello, everyone.
Hmm.
First of all, thank you so much for providing this demo for us.
Uh-huh.
And tell about myself is I am currently working for the Salesforce only, around 14 plus experience.
Mhm.
But nowadays we are listening more about the Einstein and all, especially about the analytics. I thought of know about it in a little more.
Mhm.
So as more of my experience is on service cloud. I
Mhm.
have done many projects,
Mhm.
but very less on reports and dashboards so far. By looking the name itself, it is more
Mhm.
looks like relate to the
Mhm.
same stuff, like how we maintain analytics. I mean, how we maintain the metrics on data exist in our system. That's why little attractive the name itself. So I thought of join here. And thanks to Kishore, used to share me the updates related to the upcoming courses and all.
Yes.
So that is a little brief about me
Great,
and looking
great,
forward
Vijaya.
to. Thank you.
Absolutely great. Thank you, first of all, for the lovely introduction. And yeah, one great thing is that, you have a good amount of experience and definitely you have actually worked on the Salesforce. So I'm quite sure you must be having general idea about the relationship and all. So yeah, I am quite sure you will enjoy this session.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Manohar, just a very quick introduction. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, team, yeah, my name is Manohar, and I've been working in the Salesforce ecosystem since 2011 and worked on the sales, service, marketing, cloud, MuleSoft, multiple integrations. Einstein is one area which I have not explored, so wanted to learn on that. That's brief.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you,
Yeah.
Manohar. So, one
Yeah.
good thing is that currently, whoever are there in this session, Vijay and Manohar, so both of you have a great experience in Salesforce. So definitely what I can do is, of course, you both will be knowing about the relationship and all which we are having, right? So yeah, that's the good thing. What I can do
Yeah.
is straight away I can jump into the topic without delving into the nitty-gritty of what is like account, what is object, what is contact. All these things are not needed since you are aware of that. And yeah, I will specifically just focus on this tool, a brief of things what this tool can provide. And yeah, at the very end, I will actually walk you through like what are the things you will be learning. Fine. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you. So, firstly, let me start off by saying that, this is the Salesforce, 1 minute. Yeah. So this is the link from where, you can create your free Salesforce CRM Analytics. Okay. So one thing I know the name with which we are doing this training is Salesforce Einstein Analytics, but let me tell you one thing before we start. Currently, it is known as Salesforce CRM Analytics. Okay. I have written here former Einstein Analytics. Since you both are working in Salesforce, you must be knowing it, right? That we used to have something called a Salesforce Community Cloud. It's still existing. It's just that, you know, the name got changed to Salesforce Experience Cloud, right? So similarly, currently this cloud is known as Salesforce CRM Analytics. Okay. Earlier, it was known as Salesforce Einstein Analytics, and still now people refer it as Salesforce Einstein Analytics, like, because that's a very popular name. Okay. But don't get confused if I refer Salesforce CRM Analytics. So Salesforce CRM Analytics, or, you know, Salesforce Einstein Analytics, or before Salesforce CRM Analytics was known as Salesforce Tableau CRM, all are same words. Okay. It indicates the same tool itself. Fine. Okay. So firstly, this is the link where you can create your free Salesforce CRM Analytics app. Okay. So I am quite sure that that won't be a challenge. You just provide all the details which is required. Okay. So let me first of all share that very quickly in the chat window. Okay. I think there's another person who joined, Tirumala Rani. Fine. She dropped off. So that's the thing. Now, what we will do is, once you actually provide all the requisite details, you will actually land up on this page. Fine. So of course you will get one link in your email ID, and those things I think is known to both of you. So after that, once you land up over here, so this, as we all know, it's known as the app launcher. Okay. So once we click over there, you will get this particular thing called Analytics Studio option over there once you create. So this is something you won't get in your free Salesforce developer, or through that link only you will get that thing of Analytics Studio once you click on your app launcher. Fine. Now this particular thing is basically a separate product, Salesforce CRM Analytics. So in a normal org, that needs to be purchased. Okay. So that's why we have a separate link when we are dealing with a free Salesforce CRM Analytics org. Okay. So once you click over here, we land up to something called as the Analytics Studio. Fine. Now from here, of course, we can actually create the data sets, and we can explode it. Okay. So what I will do is I will very quickly show you how we actually pull in the data. So there are different ways in which you can pull from other sources as well, but let me first share you that part. So when I click on this data export, right, I mean, just to query on, let's say, account. So let's say I write select ID comma name from, let me take opportunity for example. Okay. So in total, I have 792 records, right? So I will show you how we bring this particular object into our Salesforce CRM Analytics org. Fine. So let me do one thing. Firstly, let me create one app. Okay. So let me just write over here. So this is the way we create an app. An app is nothing but more like a folder. I will just create a blank app very quickly. And what I will write is, I will just write I'm just writing SVTech free demo session Feb. Okay. So this is just a folder which I have created. Now, what I will do is I will very quickly go to data manager. And from here, what I will go is I will go to manage data flow. Okay. So in the manage data flow, we have something called as data flows and recipes. So let me tell you, basically Salesforce CRM Analytics works on the ETL approach. Okay. ETLT approach. So remember this thing, it works on the ETLT approach, where these are very common terms which we use when we deal with any data analytics tool. Okay. So it's more about like extract, transform, load, and once again we can actually transform. Fine. Transform if required. So it's required actually mostly when you work in real-time project. But yeah, I will now tell you how this works out. So the first part is extract. So how we extract is basically we need to extract the data. So currently, as you can see, like here I have for opportunity, from opportunity, I will extract the data. Okay. So in the data manager, what we do is we have this object option called connect. Okay. So once you create your free Salesforce CRM Analytics, you will also have that option of connect. As you can see, I have opportunity over here. Okay. So by default, you can by default, some fields will be selected for you. But let's say there are more specific fields you want to enable and you want to bring it to this OR, then definitely you can enable those. Fine. So what happens is basically now, for example, if I go to Object Manager, so under Object Manager, there's a profile for every field which you pull in from opportunity, which needs to be enabled. Otherwise, you won't get to see that field. Okay. So of course, because this is a free Salesforce CRM Analytics, so by default, it's enabled for 2 profiles. But otherwise, when you are purchasing the license in real-time scenario, you have to ensure that, there are few fields which you are bringing in, the profiles of those fields are enabled. For example, when I go to opportunity, and let's say I come to this particular field called stage itself. Okay, a very popular field which we have from opportunity object. Now over here, if I go to this set field level security, now as you can see here, these are the 2 profile I was talking about. Okay, that is Analytics Cloud Integration User, fine, and Analytics Cloud Security User. So definitely when it comes to, the extraction and transforming part, then definitely we need this particular profile, Analytics Cloud Integration User. Now security user, Analytics Cloud Security User is more like, dealing with security predicate, which we will not be concerned, but security predicate is more like a part of the data set, okay, more of the design layer. So these are the 2 main profiles, and definitely if this is not enabled for you, then you won't be able to see the field, okay, in the first place.
Excuse me, Avinash, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt.
Mhm.
One quick question before
Sure.
getting to more detail about
Sure.
studio.
Mhm.
By seeing name itself, I thought by analytics and all, we thought
Mhm.
of making some metrics or something like upgrade level of some reports and dashboard and
Yeah,
all.
yeah, that's what we
Maybe
will do. We will be
maybe is
no,
my
no,
understanding
mhm.
correct? But looks like something like upgrade level of data management or a data upload or data load stuff, right? So can you quickly elaborate for
Uh-huh.
me, like what is the exact purpose of this? I mean, what is the
Mhm.
main
Mhm.
aim of having this studio or a tool?
Absolutely, absolutely. So
Yeah.
the thing is that at the end of the day, we will be actually making the dashboard only. For example, very quickly, let me open one
Okay.
dashboard which is already there. So this is the dashboard. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the dashboard. For example, let's say I click on this. For example, I click on stage. Let's say I click on opportunity 1. Okay. When I click on apply, so by default, these are the things I get to see: the sum of amount for each stage. Okay. Sum of amount. Fine. Sum of amount for each of the opportunity name. Fine. And at last, you can see the details. For example, over here, the opportunity ID, the account ID, the name of each. Okay. What are the stages they are in? Then basically who are my top 10 opportunities, like who are the ones who are generating me amount. So these are my top 10. If I want to see the top 20, I will get to see the top 20. If I want to see the top 30, I will get to see the top 30. So these are the top 2. Of course, I filtered by stage. For example, let's say I just get back to the initial view. Now at last, if you see, I have something called as top 2, top 5, top 10. Okay, so which are the top 2 stages, which are the top 5 stages, which are the top 10? At the end of the day, of course, what you mentioned is correct. We will be working on the metrics of the dashboard. This will be the final result. But prior to that, Vijaya, as I said, we have to follow this approach. So it's a data analytics tool, just like we have Tableau, we have Power BI. So this is also one of the data analytics tool. So this is the approach. So the whole idea is like how we are extracting data from Salesforce internal log as well as Salesforce external log. This will be the main 2 things I'll be covering up in the session. But for that matter, you can actually pull in data from any other log. Okay. So for example here, for
I
example here, when
understand.
you go
Thank
to
you.
when you go to connect, we have a lot of orgs. Okay, these are the developer org which I pulled in earlier. But similarly, you can pull in a MuleSoft org. Okay, as well as you can like go to this add connection, and there are more options which we have. Okay, the only thing is you have to provide the credentials, and once you do that, you can pull data from other orgs as well. Okay, so there are few options from where you can directly pull in right now, and definitely this number is going to increase. Okay, so that's more or less about the overall view.
That is the difference, I think. Maybe if we go
Mhm.
with the reports and dashboard, we could
Mhm.
only perform this one on our current instance, but this analytics
Mhm.
will help us to connect with some external system also on the go.
That
Is my
is right.
understanding correct?
Your understanding is correct, but not only that, what I will show you is basically the transform, like we can create a lot of derived fields. With reports and dashboard, you always have to rely on creation of custom fields, right? Let's say if there are certain changes, but with the data layer, you can create some derived fields. When I say derived fields, it means those fields will only be existing in Salesforce CRM Analytics product, and it won't be hampering the normal Salesforce custom fields which you create. That thing. Another thing is when you create a dashboard, right, Vijaya, over there, there's a limitation to the number of connections you can do for each of the objects. For example, I don't remember the exact number, but you can have a dashboard, let's say for up to 5 relationship. I don't remember the exact number. For example, account, opportunity, contact, right? But in Salesforce, no matter how many relationships are existing, you can bring it under one umbrella and create a dashboard. So from the same dashboard, this is just a very simple dashboard, but from the same dashboard, I can navigate to, let's say, account, let's say, contact, whatever relationship is existing. Okay.
Oh, great. Okay. Great.
Okay. Starting onwards. So currently I won't be able to explain from starting, but you can watch the recording. So this recording will be available. Okay. So yeah, just for the interest of time and for the interest of the rest of the members, I can't start from the beginning, but yeah, in general, if you have one question, you can ask, just like, she asked over here, and you can watch the recording. Okay. So that's the thing. But yeah, as I was going further, here with this two being enabled, after that, what we can do is under the connect, okay, this opportunity field which we are getting, you will enable those fields for sure. And once that is done, what we have to do is we will click on this sync. Okay, so this sync is more like a table kind of a thing where we aggregate the data. So as I told you, this is the internal log. When I say internal log, which is the logs which contains the Salesforce CRM Analytics license. Okay, so this is my internal log which I'm showing you. Under that svtc_local, you will have all the objects which are part of your internal log. Okay. Now, similarly, I can connect some other external Salesforce org as well. Okay. So the way to do it is, of course, I will show you properly in the session. But basically, as you can see, here are some of the, this is the internal log. So whenever you want to enable any new object, okay, you just have to, for example, this account, I selected the account. As you can see, it's enabled. Some of the objects which I didn't put in, that is known as not enabled. Okay. So similarly, you can connect other external log. These are my external log which I have. Okay. So, and of course, with other system as well. Fine. Now, the thing is that once I ran the sync, okay, basically whatever records I have, that exact records are being pulled in right now. Fine. So once that is done, the next aspect is, bringing it to the designer layer, which I have. Bringing it to the designer layer. So now when I go to data flow and recipe, there are two data layers. So first one is about extracting. Okay. So this extracting we done via that sync table, which I have shown you. Then comes the transformation part. If there is any transformation we have to do, we do it via data layer. So there are two data layers. Okay. So mostly we will be dealing with the recipe data layer in the future, but we have the option of creating the data set via data flow. Okay. So I will quickly show you those opportunities, how we can bring on the designer layer. So when I click on this create data flow, okay, so let me write here. There are a lot of nodes which you see. Okay, so this is the whole canvas where you do this transformation. Fine. So this word which I've written of transform, this is the whole canvas where we can do the transformation. Okay, so for now, what I will do is I will just go for this get opportunity. So what I will do is I will just pull in the opportunity object from here. So this is known as the SFDC digest node. Just like SFDC digest node, we have a lot of other nodes. Okay, but for now, I will just select this node and I will quickly show you how it exactly works and what you will be dealing with when you join the course. So let's say I go for ID. I will go for name. Okay, and then I will go for example, stage name. Okay. Now once I click on create, I will go to, let's say, I'm just giving one name. So the same name I'm just pasting it over here. So for alias, you always have to ensure there's no spaces. It has to be underscore because alias is more like the API name of the data set which you're going to create. So via this SFDC register node, what it will help us, it will help us to load the data. Okay. So the final loading part is done in dataset, and that part we will see just now. So here the source node means the previous node with which you want to get this connected. So I've selected this get opportunity, and here I will select the name once again, which is get of dataset, and let me click on create. So what I did in this data layer where we are dealing for the transformation of the data, datas. So here I've just pulled in what node, SFDC digest. SFDC digest node helps to bring us in any objects and is related field from Salesforce internal log. Okay, and I just registered it, a simple 2 nodes being taken. And what I will do is I will just click on update. In the version history, I can just write maybe version 1. Okay, update data flow. Maybe I can run the data flow. Fine. Now, once you run the data flow, basically it ran successfully, as you can see. Now, what I will do is I will take this data set, I will search for the name, and firstly, I will just very quickly, I will just put it in our app which we created. Okay. So I'm refreshing this Analytics Studio screen. So as you can see, this is the data set which I created by default. In general, you will have always 2 apps. There will be some other apps as well, which will be created just because, you created from a free Salesforce org. But otherwise, in general, we will have 2 orgs, 2 apps by default. That is your private app as well as shared app. Okay. So private app is like all the data sets or, whatever dashboard you create, which will be only restricted to yourself. And shared app is like, of course, this will be visible. Any kind of new data set which you create by default, it will be there in shared app. Okay. Until unless you specify the location. So what I will do is this new data set which I created, as you can see, by default, it is in shared app. I will very quickly move it to the app which we created today, the folder which we created today, that is this one. Okay. SVTech free demo session February. Fine. Now, once I do that, what I will do is I will just click on explore. Fine. So once I click on explore, as you can see, the total records you see is 792, right? And if you check over here, that is the total number of records which you have. Okay, 792. So that means it is exactly matching. It put it those exact number of records. And of course, for this count of stage, let's say you want to see the count of rows for each of the stages of opportunity, you can click on this option and you will get to see all the values of it. Okay. Now, of course, you can dig deep down and you can sort it by if required in this manner as well, where you get to see the total count of rows for each of the stage in descending order. So there are a lot of things which we can do over here. Now, all these things is nothing but the loading part. And the thing is that if you want to do certain kind of filtration, so, let's say if my client told me that, hey, just pull in all the opportunities which are closed won. Okay, I just want to see those opportunities. Now, one part is, doing the filtration on the data layer. Okay. But as I have written at last, after loading, you can transform the data if required. So that means is I can also do the filtration directly on the data set also. So for example, if I want to see, let's say all the closed won opportunity. So here, if I just click on stage and if I click on closed won, I will be able to see that. Okay. So this is the way we actually can perform all the operations if required. That's why I've written a class transform if required. And of course, we can also do it via SQL. So once you load the data, what happens? This is how it's being fetched over here. We can do a lot of configuration, like, we can play around with the charts. Okay. There are a lot of charts which provide depending upon how many fields and all we have. Okay. So for example, with stage, I can go for all these charts, and there are some suggested charts as well with, CRM Analytics itself gives to you, which will look beautiful. For example, if I go for this chart, CRM Analytics, this chart will look beautiful for the count of rows stage. Then we have something called as funnel. So this funnel is something which we mainly use for the stage. Okay. And there are a lot of other things which we can explore and we can make that charts. Okay. So when I save it, it will be saved as a lens basically. So let's say I just write it as stage lens. Okay. And I will share that app to this SVTech demo session Feb, which we created in the beginning. Fine. Now, with this, I have just put in 3 fields, so I can say limited things. So what I will do is I will pull in a few more fields from the same data flow which I created. So here, if I go and just select, let's say I select amount. Okay, and let's say I select expected revenue, ID name, stage name, and let's say I select type. Okay, I think this much is fine. Yeah, I think this much is fine. So I will propagate this. Basically, propagate means I'm pulling this new fields which I have taken and pull it into the data set. Okay, so these are the fields which I have. Now I will just update this. And now I will run the data flow. Okay. So again, it ran successfully. And now what I will do is I will just refresh this data set once. So once I refresh the data set, again, if I click on explore, so earlier I was only seeing stage, but I can see a few more things. For example, I can see stage, as well as if I want, I can pull in the type. Okay. So once I pull in, like, what are the charts which we can give me a better view, those are being suggested by Einstein itself. Okay. So here you can select any one of them. For example, if I select the first one. Okay. So this is more like a heat map chart, and this is the way it's appearing. Fine. So this is the thing about the data set, and this is the thing about creating of lens. So I have created one lens as well, which is just a saved exploration of whatever you want to check. Now we will be going to dashboard. Now let's say I create one dashboard with this same data set. Okay. So I will go to create blank dashboard. So over here, what I will do is I will just bring one chart. This is the data set which I created, right? So here, let's say I just write one name, let's say stage. Okay. I'm going for count of rows of stage. Okay. And let's say go in descending order. So let me click on done. So this is the stage chart which I have created. Okay. And here I can just write the title. Opportunity stage. And similarly, let's say create a type. So I'm creating one chart. And let's say I go for type over. Okay. Let me write the title as opportunity type. Fine. Yeah, just to make this attractive, what I will do is I will go for the suggested chart option once again. So from this chart, let me go for suggested chart. So I think this funnel is fine, and let this be as it is. And of course, I can create a text widget. So these are the widgets which you see on the left side. So let me just very quickly write over here. Fine. I can just make it middle as alignment. So just like this, we have certain filters. So there are filters like, the global filters, and we have something called as list filters. Let's say I bring in a few global filters at the top. Let's say I go for the same data set once again. So under that data set, let's say I go for stage. And from here, let's say I go for opportunity type. Okay. And I create one more where maybe I can take the amount, for example. So let's say from here I go for amount. So now if I click on preview, so as you can see, this is just a very simple dashboard which I've created based on the data and fields I've pulled in. Okay. So when I click on this stage, for example, I want to see how many records I have. under my need analysis. Okay, so if I click on apply, so this many records I have under need analysis. Okay, and what are the opportunity type which are existing under need analysis? These are the opportunity type which are existing under need analysis. Fine. So in this way we can create a lot of charts, a lot of components, and we can actually play around with this. Okay, any question up till here? Up to whatever I covered, any question?
No, good till here. Yeah, I'm good with this.
Okay.
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah. Fine. So this is one aspect of it. Now, definitely, as we move further, like there are some concepts of, so basically any kind of relationship you want to exist. For example, we have the account as well as the opportunity, right? So for account and opportunity to bring those things, we go for this something called as the augment node. Okay. So basically we know that one opportunity can have one record, right? So to see all those records which we are having, we can go for augment node and we can check the data specifically on the opportunity level, and we can see all the account records as well. Okay, so for currently right now, this in this lens I am not able to see. So let's see if I just open this data set once again. So here I'm not able to see the account which are part of each of the opportunity name, for example. Right now, let's say if you want to bring the account, okay, just give me one moment please. Okay, I am back. So like here, if I want to see the account name, for which each of the opportunity name is belonging to. So in that case, what I can do, I can go for this augment node. Okay, I can go for, let's say, get account. In here, let's say the source side items, get opportunity, and the left key. So there is some key which they will be asked. So what is that common key, which is, joining the account and opportunity? It is nothing but the account ID, right? So as you know that one opportunity can have one account, the relationship. Okay, so here this account ID is nothing but the ID of the account, isn't it? So that is nothing which we have to give in the key, and of course we will learn this much more in details, much more in a clear way once you come to the session. But here, let's say the relationship is nothing but, whichever you are taking on the right side. Okay, so that will be denoted by certain relationship name, for which we provide the relationship. As I know, in the right, I'm taking the account, so I'm just writing account. So there will be two names when we run this data set. So the second name will be referenced by account. Okay, that is nothing but the name of account, and the first one will be the name of opportunity, which we don't reference by any key. So left key, I will take it as, okay, I haven't enabled the account ID. For now, let me take ID. Let me click on create. So here, I will just enable this ID field. So I enable this account ID, click on save, propagate. And here, what I will do is I will take the account ID right now. Okay. And from the right source, I will be taking, give me a moment. I'm sorry. Okay. Before augmenting, I have to bring the account. Okay. So this name should be account opportunity actually. Give me a moment. This name will be account opportunity. Let me save it. And for now, what I will do is I will just bring in one more node. Let's say, right, get account. I will select the source object as account over here. And in the select fields, let's say I go for ID. I go for name. And let's say I go for industry. Okay. So these are the things. Now what I will do is basically under this augment, under the right source, I will go for I will select the right as the account. The key, so this account ID, right? So we have this key called account ID. So this account ID has to match with the ID, then only the related account will come up. Otherwise, if you don't give the key properly, the data flow will run, but it may not pull in the right fields which you want to check from your parent or child object, whichever you are referencing in your right side. Okay. So here the right fields, let's say I just want to pull in the name and industry as of now. And the lookup single value means, as we know that one opportunity can have only one account. So currently opportunity being there on the left, I will go for lookup single. We will actually walk through these details. Okay. We will have a complete session on this one only of the augment node, where I will explain you how, based upon the relationship of objects and based upon the grain level, like what is the object which you want to specifically see on the dashboard, how we develop this augment node. But anyways, after this, what I will do is I will just join this from here. So basically I took one opportunity, an account object. I have created an augment where a relationship got restored, and with one data set only, I have just created this node. Now what happens in reports and dashboard is you have to separately create that relationship on the dashboard itself, right? But here you can do it on the data layer. Now, if I just run this particular data layer,
फट गई थी, मैं दही नहीं खा रहा, तुमसे फटी है पहले की फटी
yeah,
हुई थी?
please put yourself on mute. Please put yourself on mute.
तोड़ते फटी?
Hello.
तो खा सकता हूं फिर मैं?
Yeah, there's a person joined with user. Please put yourself on mute.
वरना ये अगर
Hello. Okay, so now once this is done, I will come to this data set. I will just refresh 1 minute. Just let me save this dashboard very quickly. Okay. So here, let me write. Now this data set, what I will do is I will just refresh this very quickly. Now here, if I click on explore, so as you can see, I have the count of rows, and let's say I want to see the name of the opportunity and what are the accounts which I have. So I will go for this account.name. Okay. So under account.name, as you can see, like these are the opportunities which doesn't have any account, but these are the opportunities which are having the account. Okay. So this way we can check this level of details over here. Fine. So this is the thing. And now once again, what I will do, I will just move to this particular app. Acha, somebody, please, the one who has joined with user, please put yourself on mute.
बैठो तो आजो। चलो आजो।
Okay, so let me again take the screen sharing. So as I was saying that here we have this app. So under this app, what I will do is, so this is the dashboard. Now what we can do, we can actually create a few more things from here. Let's say you want to see which are your top stages, for example. Okay, so how we can achieve that? So here, for example, let's say I have the opportunity type and opportunity stages. Fine. Let's say I want to toggle in the same chart between opportunity stage and opportunity type. So in that case, what we can do, we can create that option. So here, let's say I go for create query and I go for create custom query. Okay. So here we have two things, as you can see. here we have something called as opportunity type and opportunity stage. Okay, so now under this create query, when I go for create custom query, let's say I select stage and I select type. Okay, so once I do that, from here what I can go for is I can go for the dimensions. Let's say I go for stage, and from here let's say I go for type. Okay, so here let's say create, right? Custom dimension. Now with this one, what I can do is I can just pull in this over here, and here I have to go for something called as single selection required. Now what I will do is I will bring one chart over here. Okay, so I am bringing one chart here, and let's say go for the count of rows, and I go for, let's say, the stage over here. Fine. So let me click on down. Now what happens is when a user selects something over here, let's say the user selects stage, the stage should show up, and when the user selects type, the type should come up. Fine. So how I can achieve that? From here, what I will do is I will go to this advanced editor. So under advanced editor, we have this thing called advanced interaction editor. So as you can see, for this query, I have the stage name. So when I click on type, it should come as type. So what happens is, to replace that thing, we can make use of this advanced editor. So here, when I go to select query, let's say I select that custom dimension. Fine. I will go for selection, and I will choose the data of column. And here I will select the dimension which I created, and I will go for as object because I'm selecting certain things. So I will go through in details like what is the meaning of result selection, what are the different data selection functions which we have, and how we can utilize them much more in details at a later stage when you come to the session. But now for here, just understand, I'm just putting this bindings over here under stage name, and wherever I see the stage name, I will remove that column map. So here, for example, I see the stage name, right? Okay, I don't need the order. So before doing anything, let me click on cancel, and let me first of all remove the order very quickly. So here, currently I don't need the order by, otherwise it will become a bit complex for now. So let's say I sort this out, I clear the sort, and I click on update. And now again, once I go to advanced editor, I will just take this custom dimension, go for column, go for the dimension, and I will go for selection over here. Then I will go for as object, and I will actually copy this one, and under query section, I will just paste it. And wherever I see the stage name right now, right? So this is the column map. Whenever we deal with this, of course, we will walk through in proper details, but whenever we do some bindings, we always put the column map as null. Now, similarly on the widget section as well, if I see for stage name, okay, so this is the column map section, which we actually need to remove it. Otherwise, it impacts the performance of that particular bindings which we have done. Okay, so I will click null and put a comma. Now, once that is done, what I will do is, now further, I don't think so I have any field called stage name. So this was one field which was existing. Now, definitely over here, I will just remove this bracket, because this bracket is anyhow coming from this interaction which I created. Okay, from the interaction, I'm already getting the bracket. So I will remove this square bracket as well, because that already came from the interaction. And what I will do is I will click on save right now. Fine. So now once I click on preview, as you can see, when I'm hovering into stage, the stages are coming up. When I'm hovering into type, I can see the opportunity type. Okay, at the complete bottom, if you see. Okay, so these are some of the advanced interaction which we can do. Now, similarly, let's say I want to see the top 5 stages. Okay, so here I will bring this chart once again. So I have this count of rows for stages. So let's say I'm going for descending order, and let me clear the sort from stage. Okay, this is clear sort. So now let's say I click here, name it as count of stage. Okay. So once I name it as count of stage, what I will do is under this custom expression, I will create one more. Okay, now I will create one more query right now, custom query, where I will mention something like, let's say, top two stage, let's say top 5 stage, okay, and let's say top 7 stage, okay. So everywhere let me have this stage. And here I go for this number, and let's say I write 2, 5, 7. So here let me write something like top stage. Okay, let me name that query as top stage. Now, first thing first, I will just bring it over here. I go for this single selection required, and I will go to this preview section, and once again I will build that query with the help of advanced editor. The top stages, I will take the column, the number, go for selection, and here I will go for as object. Okay, so this 2 is coming up, as you can see. So I will just copy this and paste it in that query where I see that limit. Okay, so currently there's no limit as of now. So now what I will do is, here let's say I just give a particular limit over there. So here which you see, right, the query limit. So under this query limit where we have 2000, let's say I just give 6 randomly over here. Okay, let me click on apply. So I am able to see the top 6 stages as of now. Okay, now what I will do, just to ensure it gets binded by this selection at the top, I will go to advanced editor. I already created the query, so that 2 which I see, 6 which I see right now, over there I will just paste this particular binding. Okay, I will paste this particular binding, and of course I will give in double quotations over here. And now let me click on save. Okay, so now if you see, when it is top 2 stages, I'm able to see the top 2. When I click on top 5, okay, I'm able to see the top 5 stage. When I click on top 7, I'm able to see the top 7 stages. Fine. Let's type something. Be right back. Okay, fine. So that's the whole thing about this dashboard and this interaction which we do. Any question after whatever we covered? So this is the whole thing. Firstly, we have this extract part. Through this connect, we connect the sync. We can bring some data from other external sources as well. And basically, this is the data layer. I have shown you data flow, but similar to data flow, we have something called as the recipe as well. Okay, so when I click on create recipe, this is how the whole UI looks like of recipe. This is also the data layer where you can do many transformation. And finally, we have the design layer where we have such kind of data set, and we can build the dashboard in this manner. Okay. Now coming back to the session, what you will be expected to learn from this session. So of course, the introduction, I gave you a short introduction today, but we will have a proper introduction as well. What are the permission sets? So for example, so always remember, whenever you are having this Analytics Studio, okay, because this is the free Salesforce developer, CRM Analytics developer, you will have that particular permission set. But when you are working in real time, always remember you need this kind of permission set license and the permission set. Okay, so the permission set license which you require will be this one, that is CRM Analytics plus permission set license will be required to view any Salesforce CRM Analytics assets, like the data flow, the data set, the dashboard. And depending upon the level of permission which you want to give to that user, we need the CRM Analytics plus admin. Okay, it can be CRM Analytics plus admin or CRM Analytics plus user, fine, depending upon what kind of assets they needs to see. Okay, so that's the thing. And then of course we will learn some of the basic terms, like what is app, what is data layer, what are each of the things. We will also have a session where we will walk through the knowledge, like what is the relationship existing between them. Okay, so then how we set up the users, some row level security at a later stage, the sharing inheritance, how we create the data. So this one we already created, the first dashboard, the first data set, and then okay. Now the data layer. In the data layer, I talked about the sync. Okay, the different kind of connections I showed you, the different nodes which we have. For example, there are various nodes which we have over here. Okay, So this is just an SFDC digest node and data set, but there are a lot of data flow nodes like digest node, HMART node, then we have the append node. So when we are combining two, let's say the opportunity, there is one opportunity from internal, there is one opportunity I have from external log. So to combine those two, we require the append node. Then the augment node, which we utilize today, of course, compute expression node helps us to create new derived fields, as I was telling you, which you don't want to create separately under the custom field. Okay, then compute relative is more like a compute expression. So there are various kind of nodes which we will walk through. Then similarly, I was talking about the recipe as well. So under recipe also, we have a lot of nodes, fine. So let's say randomly, I just bring in that node over here. Let's get 𝗕𝗏 dataset, okay? I'm just randomly bringing this. Say click on next. Under recipe also, you have a lot of nodes like the transform node, the aggregate node, okay? Join node, append node, update node, fine. Filter node. So all these things we will learn much more in details, okay? Over here, so introduction to recipes, then the data flow append and augment node, how we create flatten node, okay? Then the slice dataset register node, all these nodes are present over here. Okay, the flatten node, filter node, okay. The slice dataset, fine. Then of course the recipe, I will walk through so there are a lot of joins which we have, okay, what each of the join means. For example, when I click on this join, there are too many joins which you see. I need to select, of course, one more data set as well. Let's say randomly I'm selecting this one, okay, not an issue. So the lookup, the left join, right join, inner join, what each of the join means and what are the applications of that, fine. Then the design and layer, what are lens exploration, okay. The dashboard which I have shown you. So SQL, now what is the meaning of SQL? SQL is nothing but Salesforce semantics query language. For example, I build this lens, right? So let's say I take the count of stage, okay. So although we are just configuring this, we just brought in the count of rows for stage, and let's say I go for descending order, okay. Now if I click on this query mode, right, so basically in the backend how the query is working, right? So I have loaded the data set. So this is the something which is known as SQL. SQL means Salesforce Analytics Query Language. So language which the Salesforce CMTs understand is something how that code is being done in the backend, that is known as SQL. And this count of rows for each of the stages which you see, this is because of this code which is running in the backend. Fine. So that's the meaning of SQL. So there are a lot of different functionalities which we can use via SQL. Okay. Then this pivot table. So for example, here, like this is the chart mode. Similarly, you have something called as the table mode, the values table mode, and the compare table mode. On the compare table, there are a lot of different calculations which can be done. Fine. So all those different calculations we will walk through. Okay. Some of the different widgets. So here, when I have created this dashboard, I have utilized a few widgets. For example, I have just utilized this text widget. Okay. This text widget, the filter widget, and then definitely the chart widget. But we have the stable widget, okay, the repeater widget, then the link widget. So all this different kind of widgets which we have, we will walk through for sure. Then the different kind of charts which we have. So I will just walk you through some funnel chart and some bar chart. But similarly, we have a lot of charts over here. If I go to chart mode, as you can see, there are a lot of charts like bar, column. What's the meaning of an application of each of them? We will walk through properly. Then advanced dashboard, the bindings. I have shown you one aspect of bindings, the selection bindings. But what is binding in general? What kind of binding you have to go in certain scenarios? All this we will walk through for sure. Okay. So advanced editor. So advanced editor I've already used today. That's fine. Some advanced SQL. So there are some changes like co-group union, okay, which we can do over there. Then how we embed that in Salesforce. So classic, usually we don't do it right now. I can explain you, but more it's our lightning, which we do today. So that thing, then how you can access CRM Analytics on mobile, okay. The security and compliance we have to take into consideration, because in Salesforce that always was a major key, right? And a little bit I will walk through. So this is more like an analytics session where I will analyze the data and show you. This is not a discovery session, but yeah, we will have just one session where I will give you a brief introduction about prediction, like how that thing is done. It will be only for half an hour maximum, fine, because this itself is a separate topic altogether. That will be not a part. This session will be only analyzing the data, like the ones which I have showed you, this ETL approach, how it is being done. Okay. But this session we will just have for half an hour at the very last, okay? But we won't focus on this one, and then some of the mini projects maybe we will cover, okay, related to sales insights. So this is the complete thing which you will expect from the session, which we learn from the session. So, every components, every functionality related to Salesforce Analytics will be covered. And yeah, this is more or less about it. Let me know if you want to know certain things or if you have certain doubts. Any further things you want to ask?
I'm good from my side, Avinash.
Okay. Thank you, Vijay.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
So
yeah,
the
go ahead.
timing would be same for tomorrow and regularly.
Yeah, so not from tomorrow, we will start it after a couple of days. Okay. So I
Okay.
think maybe after 1 or 2 weeks. So more on that, you can talk to Kishore. We are not starting immediately for sure. And yeah, regarding the timings, you can discuss with Kishore. It will be in the morning time, but the exact time you will be updated in the group.
Yeah. Looking for the update. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. You can get a hold with Kishore once. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Avinash. One last question. Just got.
No
How
last
much
question. You can
it
take your
cost?
time.
How much it cost to enable in our current projects or org? Any pricing model do we have for this Einstein Studio?
Yes, of course. So basically, as I told you, this is the permission set which you require. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, depending upon the level of permission, the pricing is different. You can just search once for this, because at the end of the day, whichever is the license which we see, that is nothing but in real time you have to purchase. Okay, so you can just search on Google for the CMATIX Plus license. What will be the cost? Because depending upon the type of org, the price varies, and depending upon the kind of the total kind of features which they will provide. Depending on that also, it varies a bit. Okay. So that part just check on Google's, but yeah, this is the way you can search CMATIX Plus license cost. Okay. Yeah.
Understand. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Fine. You can just watch these recordings, practice a bit, gets a little bit of experience on what is this part. And yeah, of course, I've walked through what you can expect to learn from this session. And yeah, you can just decide. And hopefully, I'm looking forward to meeting a few of you if possible in the session. So yeah, thank you everyone. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks, Avinash. Thanks for nice demo.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.